Okay, so here we are. I finished splitting all mine off from the main panel. You can see I've got 3 big ones. 1, which is my mixed grasses. 2, which is my dead grass, and 3, a much greener grass there. So those are my 3 larger ones. I've got a medium-sized grass there, and I've got a small grass and a small dead grass. So that's all my grasses I can use. And then I've got all my leaves, which I've cut out and prepared. I'm looking at these, they look quite bright, but once you get them into Unity, we can change the colors of them. So I'm not too worried about that at all, in fact. So next stage is to make your little plants. So to do that, we just take one of these. Let's take the grassy green one, for example. Copy and paste it. Okay. So we have a plane. So we have one plane here. Copy and hold down Shift and copy it again. Click OK. Rotate it 90 degrees. And position it back. I usually sort of snap it back into place, although it's not, doesn't really matter too much as long as it's crossing over the other one. So we just move it. So I just undo that. So we just move it and snap it so that it's nicely in place, and then you attach them two together. Go to attach and select, and there we have it. I've created a bunch of these already. And I'm going to show you mine now and show you the different types that I made. So if I just delete that one and I unhide all of mine, you can see, let's just hide this, we don't need this viewable. Hide selected. Okay, and here's all my little grasses that I made. Just like the technique I've just showed you, just copy the panels and create these grasses. Now I've done various types here, so straightforward cross like this. The smaller one I've just done a three panel cross, but you've got to be careful with this. This is quite expensive. You're effectively increasing it by 1/3 there just by adding an extra panel. And when you get thousands of these on the screen, that's a lot of extra polygons. This one here I've tilted, so if your grass, if you have a scene where you're looking down a lot like this, you might want to just tilt them slightly so you can see the grass from an angle, from a high angle, instead of like this, which is just a cross. This one here, you'll still see some of the vegetation. So that's one way of doing that. Yeah, so that's my grasses, and I've created this little plant here, this ground plant. You can create lots of different ones of these. You can create a dead one, a nice green one, and it looks really bright up against the grass right now, but once we get into Unity, we can change the colors, change the tones and the values, and it will blend in really nicely. So don't worry about the color of it too much at this stage. All I did here was just create a small tube. I don't need to show you how to do that now. Shrunk it right down so it just becomes a stem, and then I just attached some leaves around the stem to create this little plant there, and that's it really. So there it is. There's my 6 plants that I'm going to take into Unity, and we're going to paint the terrain, I should say, with this grass. Okay, so what I want you to do now is select each one, go to save as, save selected, and go and save them in each one as an individual file into the meshes vegetation folder. Remember, we created this already, and we put our texture folder in here, so just put it in the same vegetation folder as your textures folder. And so each of your plants is your ground plant. Well, that's my ground plant there. and then each of your grasses, just give them a really relevant name so you know what they are. Like this, my tall mixed grass, which is this one here. Okay, so once you save them out, there's a few things we have to prepare to get them Unity ready, and I'll show you that now. So if you load your first one back in, okay, so here's my mixed grass. So what you have to do, okay, so let's just move it away. So this is the process you need to go through. Let's just affect my pivot, center to object. Right, so you'll probably have something like this. So what you need to do is move this to 0. Right click here. Be sure your X and Y is 0. You know it's at 0 then. Go to affect pivot only over here. So go to your hierarchy folder tab, down to affect pivot only. Right click on your select and move transform icon, and Z, just put a 0 in that so that your pivot sits on the ground like so. So it's at 0. And then you need to, again, with affect pivot only selected, go to your select and rotate, right click on that and make sure you put 90 in X, remember, and that will make it stand up correctly inside Unity. So just do that for each of your grass. And you want to, for each one also, reset the X form, collapse your stack like that. And then this next bit is really important. If you want this blowing in the wind, you need to set it up so it will do that basically. So go to your vertex mode, then under selection, select the bottom verts, the ones that are sitting on the ground like so. Scroll down until you see vertex properties, and in the alpha value here, make sure that's set to 0. Yours, if you haven't edited this already, will probably be on 100, but you want that at 0. So what that will do, what Unity does, it looks at the vertex alpha values of your mesh and moves it in the wind according to that value. So if you have a 0 value there on the bottom, that's going to remain static. It's going to be stuck to the floor and it won't move, which is exactly what you need. If you have 100, like I have there at the top, that's going to move to its maximum ability within the wind values inside Unity. So that'll be maximum wind that one's getting. And what I've done here is I've gradually just modified each of the values going up from the ground. So the next lot up is at 25%. The next lot up from that is at 50%, and then they have these at 75%, and then the top one at 100. So you need to set that up. It's quite simple to do. Just select them, go over here and type 0, return. That's it. Select the next lot, go over here, type 25, hit return. And you need to do that for each and every plant. Otherwise they'll move across the environment. They'll be doing this. When you get into Unity, if you have a plant that's doing this on the ground, sort of moving across the ground, it's because you haven't set those verts up. I've done a little video on YouTube actually, which I might put a link to, because there's no instructions inside the Unity manual to show you or to tell you how to do that. So I'm sure other packages have a similar feature to allow you to adjust the alpha values of your vertices. So you need to do that for all of your grass, all of your plants, anything that you want to sway in the wind. Make sure you set it up correctly, and that's it. So now let's get them inside Unity and start playing with them. I'll see you there.